Now and then I come across a film that is so horrible, so inanely dumb, that it defies traditional film analysis. Such movies need to be highlighted as a cautionary tale against how movies can sometimes go so tragically wrong that it would be better had they not existed at all. If you've never heard of The Order, the 2001 so-called action flick starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, consider yourself lucky. This brain-melting mess of idiotic plotting, laughable acting, and zero redeeming qualities will leave you, should you dare to watch the thing, questioning humanity's progress. I'm here to spoil every last detail of the movie so you can avoid the torture of sitting through it yourself. This low-rent disaster is not worth the bandwidth to stream the thing. Stick around as I walk you through the entire train wreck. The film opens with a prologue set 1,000 years ago. There is a crusader that has a sudden epiphany that killing people in religious crusades might be a bad idea. So he abandons his Christian faith, founds his own inclusive religion, including gullible Christians, Jews, and Muslims who are inexplicably attracted to his new fake religion. His sacred ramblings get lost to time, setting up the flimsy excuse for the modern plot. Flash forward to present-day Ukraine, where Van Damme's character Rudy is a smarmy artifact thief. He is stealing a gaudy jeweled egg from a museum. He clumsily smashes countless priceless artifacts in the process, and when he accidentally makes a loud noise while talking on the phone, he quips, "I just farted."
Was that the gunshot?
No, I farted.
That is the hilarious joke that this movie passes as comedy, juvenile and unfunny, a perfect omen for the stupidity to come. Rudy proceeds to beat up security guards and police officers who are rightfully trying to stop him. He is a criminal. The movie attempts to portray him as a hero as he pummels cops and security guards who are just doing their job and trying to stop a crime in progress. Cut to New York, where Rudy reunites with his father, Cyrus, a museum curator played by an actor who clearly drew the short straw, who blabs about a lost scroll from the prologue. A random stripper pops up for no reason other than to distract us with pointless titillation, and who knows, maybe it was part of Van Damme's contract. I'm noticing that several other Van Damme movies include strippers, so maybe it's just because Van Damme wanted it that way. Anyway, the mafia goons show up and there's a chaotic fight. The egg gets shattered in the melee. Rudy is captured and he is tossed in jail like the idiot that he is. Fresh out of the slammer because consequences don't exist in this movie, Rudy listens to a frantic voicemail from his dad and then gets a call saying Silas is in Israel. Well, off to Israel Rudy flies, and apparently when you're let out of jail for a major crime, you can just fly wherever you want to. After a tedious Israeli customs screening, he meets up with an old family friend played by Charlton Heston. Yes, the Oscar-winning legend Charlton Heston, reduced to cameo fodder in this bargain basement flop of a disaster film. And when I say disaster film, I don't mean there are disasters in the film, I mean the film is a disaster. Anyway, they get into a car together, notice they're being tailed, which leads to a sloppy car chase through Jerusalem streets. It ends up with the bad guys and Van Damme crashing their cars. They get out, and Charlton Heston gets fatally shot right in front of Rudy. Oh no, guy we barely met just got shot. Rudy immediately is arrested and bizarrely accused of murdering Charlton Heston, or whatever character he was playing. I don't remember the name because I didn't care that much. The charge makes zero sense, but you'd think they'd take him to jail if they're arresting him for murder, but nope, they put him up in a hotel room guarded by an attractive female cop, a single one-person cop, not like a couple police, but one cop. Well, as expected, Jean-Claude Van Damme immediately escapes by rappelling down the side of a building, getting into a waiting taxi, and driving away like it was no big deal. To evade recognition, he buys some cheap sunglasses. Charlton Heston's character slipped him a key just before he dies, so he uses it to retrieve the movie's central MacGuffin, the lost ancient scroll from the prologue. Because his sunglasses disguise wasn't good enough, he dons a comically bad fake beard to disguise himself as an Orthodox Jew, as if this movie wasn't troublesome enough. And just to make sure we know the movie isn't afraid to cross lines, even lines that were there for a reason. Van Damme meets a shady contract named Yuri to discuss the scroll. The cops spot Jean-Claude Van Damme because in Israel, the cops can spot a fake Jew from about 100 cubits away. It triggers another ridiculous chase sequence with cartoonish music, as if the filmmakers thought this was supposed to be a slapstick comedy all of a sudden. Still in his Jewish disguise, Rudy flees to an Arab-controlled neighborhood, drawing suspicious glares from the locals. The chase continues across rooftops and through crowded streets, while Van Damme assaults more police officers in the process. Maybe he was innocent of the original murder of Charlton Heston's character, but he sure as hell is guilty of assaulting police officers and resisting arrest. A helicopter joins the pursuit, turning Rudy from a suspect into a full-blown fugitive. The cops arrive, Van Damme surrenders, and he's put right back in front of the same cop that he was speaking to earlier, so this whole big chase sequence really amounted to absolutely nothing. Rudy gets deported from Israel, but wait, the film cuts to the Mysterious Order, the fictional religious sect from the prologue, where members drone on about vague prophecies and religious nonsense that you could tell was written by someone who knows about as much about religion as a squirrel knows about stock trading. Later in the movie, one of the Order people says, "God helps those who help themselves," which is absolutely nowhere in the Jewish, Christian, or Islamic holy books. It's a cliche used by suburbanites to tell their kids why they should do their chores. No serious theologian of any religious tradition would actually say that. Rudy, who is about to be deported, escapes, and there's a chase sequence through the airport, which isn't really all that exciting, but hey, at least we get to stop thinking for a few moments, because the more you think, the less the movie works. Dahlia, the cop, the female cop from earlier, helps him escape, but plot twist, she's actually an insider from a radical faction of the Order, the movie's poorly defined villains. They are the violent extremists that will kill in the name of a religion started by a guy who invented the religion because he didn't like the idea of killing in the name of religion. It's not ironic, it's dumb. Lazy writing. The story here isn't a coherent narrative, it's a string of sequential events that happen that are stapled together with no logic or character motivations along the way. Anyway, Van Damme's character meets another exposition dumper. This guy is someone who is scrutinizing the old dusty map, and we learn, quote-unquote, something cryptic about the Order's plans. Masked gunmen all of a sudden ambush them, because of course they do, leading to a shootout and yet another chase. Rudy steals a motorcycle with bad guys in pursuit. Stunts ensue, but you know what? You can tell that Van Damme isn't the one riding the motorcycle. It's an obvious stunt double. They make very careful camera angles to avoid showing his face. Van Damme gets injured, so they take him to the Order's hidden base. There, he looks over his father's old writings for more useless backstory, blah blah blah. Then Van Damme, who apparently likes to dress in religious outfits from beliefs that he doesn't have, puts on one of the Order's robes to infiltrate them. The whole sequence looks like a blend of Catholic rituals mixed with Hollywood's cliched version of what a secret society may look like. Think candles, chants, and zero authenticity. He sneaks into the basement, conveniently finding extra scrolls and plot devices laid out neatly on a table, as if this was a scene in a bad video game. There he discovers his dad imprisoned in a jail cell. But surprise, surprise, bad guys appear with guns and a bomb. Oh no. But at least we get to hear a villainous monologue explaining the entire plan in detail. They're going to set off a bomb at the Sacred Temple Mount, a sacred Islamic site in Jerusalem, which is intended to trigger a war between the religions and start World War III. Why? Some mumbo-jumbo about fulfilling a prophecy and reshaping the world. And it's just as dumb as it sounds. Remember, the whole point of the prologue was a guy who hates killing in the name of religion. And the religion he started is wanting to start a religious war because, you know, the movie's really, really smart. As they tunnel underground towards the Temple Mount, they stumble into a massive treasure room. Greed kicks in and the bad guys start betraying each other. Some want the gold, others want the apocalypse. The Order's leader arms the bomb with a classical digital clock, so predictable that it hurts. And then we get repetitive fight sequences where Van Damme does the same spin kick over and over. One of the henchmen gets impaled on something or another as they tussle over a gun. More generic shootouts follow. Rudy battles his way through the remaining cultists to stop the leader, who whips out a sword, ranting about destiny. Lucky for Van Damme, there is an old sword mixed in with the plastic and brass props, priceless gold artifacts. A lackluster sword fight ensues, and Rudy wins because of course he does. And then he drops a bomb into a gigantic convenient hole, but not before having his shirt torn off, because of course that happens, and then he runs away from the explosion like a poor man's Indiana Jones. The film wraps up with a cheesy montage of people of different religions praying peacefully, implying that world peace is restored. Insert eye roll. Back in New York, everything is just hunky-dory and fine, his dad is safe, all loose ends neatly ignored, and roll credits before you can process the absurdity. Van Damme's performance is stiff and charisma-free as usual. His fight choreography is recycled and lazy. The direction is non-existent, with scenes lurching forward at breakneck speeds to mask the glaring stupidity and plot holes and stereotypes. Co-written by Van Damme himself, the script is insulting to the very concept of storytelling. This movie isn't just bad, folks, it's damaging to your IQ. Do not watch The Order under any circumstances. Your future self will thank me. 0 stars. If I could give it negative infinity stars, I would. Thanks for sticking with me on this one, folks. My name is Eric Wilford Watson, and if you want to have some entertainment and some stories that are slightly less stupid, I hope, you can find my novels at Amazon.com. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button for more content. Until next time, Eric Wilford Watson signing out.